Sorry about the delay. We had a couple technical difficulties, but we'll get underway. So I hereby call to order the 18th meeting of the 62nd session on January 29th at 6:37 p.m. With that, we do have a few individuals to swear in before we get going. So, yourself. Senator Madden and Senator Jiten.
Oh, so don't stand up yet?
What? Go over there.
Oh, okay.
So please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I hereby swear
I hereby swear
that I will faithfully serve
that I will faithfully serve
the students of Wichita State University,
the students of Wichita State University,
act in accordance with
act in accordance with
the Student Government Association Constitution,
the Student Government Association Constitution,
and fulfill all duties and responsibilities
and fulfill all duties and responsibilities
required of the office of
required by the office of Chief of Operations,
Engineering Senator.
Senator Anderson.
I will,
I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the Student Government Association.
the Constitution of the Student
Government Association of Wichita State University.
of Wichita State University.
Congratulations. That one is always Don't have to shake my hand. With that, we'll move into section 3, roll call. When I call your name, please answer with either present or here. Senator Bradley. Senator Brown.
Here.
Senator Cowden.
Present.
Senator Day. Just say it. Senator Ezel.
Present.
Senator Flores.
Present.
Senator Hopper. Senator James. Senator Jiten.
Here.
I say that correct? Senator Kata. Senator Kahinde. Senator Kennedy. Senator Khan.
Here.
Senator Kirk.
Present.
Senator Lepetsky.
Present.
Senator Madden.
Here.
Senator Majors. Senator Miller. Senator Morgan.
Present.
Senator Mounts.
Present.
Senator Nazir.
Present.
Senator Nguyen. Senator Perkins. Cheater is excused. Senator Ritchie.
Present.
Senator Sanchez.
Here.
Senator Spencer.
Present.
Senator Tehran.
Here.
Senator Tubak. Senator is excused. Senator Zacharias.
Here.
Senator Ziad. Did I say it right that time? Ziad. With that, we have met quorum tonight with 25 total in attendance. Simple majority will be 13, two-thirds of present will be 17, and two-thirds majority will be 24. Moving into section 4, approval of the minutes. Is there any corrections to be noted for last week's minutes? Seeing none, they will be adopted as such. Moving into section 5, public forum. Public forum provides a chance for individuals to have the privilege of speaking before the Senate. This is a time for the association to listen to what the community has to say, and to that we offer our undivided respect and attention. I would like to remind everyone that although we allow the speakers the privilege to use this platform, the opinions of the speakers do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the association or the university. Lastly, in the essence of time, we do limit speeches in public forum to a length of 3 minutes, unless the speaker has spoken to us about it ahead of time. With that, we do have one that has requested additional time. Is the Election Commission here? Please come on up.
Are we good? Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name is Sophie Maples, the Chief Elections Commissioner.
And I'm Star Billingsley, the Deputy Chief Commissioner for Outreach.
We are here representing the Election Commission, and pursuant to my duty mentioned in the Legislative Journal, I am here to brief the Association on the official general election announcement. For reference, the Commission is governed by Section 3 of the Legislative Journal entitled The Association's Elections. Tonight's briefing will include information regarding any and all positions to be contested in the election, all qualifications to seek election for these positions, the process of obtaining and submitting applications for candidacy, specific dates of events and deadlines for the elections, and the text of any constitutional amendment or referendum to be presented to the Association for approval and enactment or rejection.
All right. And the positions to be contested for the 2020 general election, there's a total of 67 seats to be contested. These numbers were presented by our advisor who developed them accordingly to the fall 20th day records from the University Registrar's Office in Article 4, Section 1 of the Constitution that determines the number of seats open. The contested seats are as follows: Student Body President and Vice President, College of Applied Studies, 4, College of Business, 4, College of Engineering, 4, College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, 7, College of Fine Arts, 2, College of Health Professions, 3, Honors College, 2, Graduate School, 3, Out of State, 2, At Large, 17, Veterans, 1, International, 2, Returning Adults, 3, and underserved students with 8.
To be a candidate for senator, an association member must be a currently enrolled student as defined by the college or school in which the member is enrolled, and must have and maintain a 2.5 cumulative grade point average or have and maintain good standing in the graduate school as defined by the graduate school catalog, except in cases when the candidate is an incoming student and does not have a college grade point average. In such case, it shall be necessary for the incoming student to be admitted in good standing as defined by the university. To be a candidate for student body president or student body vice president, an association member must have and maintain a 2.50 cumulative grade point average and be at least a junior by the beginning of the fall term following the election. An association officer shall not hold the same office more than twice. Tomorrow, the SGA Elections website will include all the forms and documents needed to be officially declared for candidacy in order to secure a spot on the ballot. Every individual candidate must submit the declaration for candidacy via ShockerSync by February 27th, 2020 at 5 p.m. The Commission will be hosting our final election information workshop on February 6th for those who could not attend the first two. Additionally, should the Senate decide to approve any amendments to the Constitution, the ballot will close on Friday, March 20th at 5 p.m. for proper testing and adjustments prior to the general election on April 6th. At any time, if you have questions during the period of elections, you may contact me at sga.elections@wichita.edu or Gabriel Fonseca, the Assistant Director of Student Involvement. Thank you.
Are there any questions for our presenters? Senator James.
You stated that the last meeting will be on February 6th. Do you know what time that'll be and where?
I'm not sure of the room, but it's at 6:30 p.m.
RSC 257.
What he said.
Any other questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you so much for your time. At this time, I'll open up public forum to anyone in the room wishing to speak. Is there anyone wishing to speak in public forum at this time? Seeing none, we will move on to Section 6, Officer Reports. Item A, President's Report.
Alrighty. So the first thing I have is just a little bit of an update about the task forces. Those are filling up pretty quick. We already have one that's entirely full of the 4 student representatives, being the Diversity, Human Resources, and Professional Development Task Force. So if you still know of people who are interested, feel free to let them know that they can reach out to me, and depending on which task force it is, there are still some seats that people haven't even expressed interest in yet, but as of right now, we have at least 2 students on every task force except for one, which is the Engagement and Regional Prosperity Task Force. So I'd like at least one more person on that one. I would like all 4 seats to be filled on each and every task force, but 2, I guess, is all right, preferably 4. Also with that, if you are serving on a task force, I'll be sending out an email to each task force of the student representatives as well, because I really want to make sure that the progress of the task forces are being reported on, either each week, bi-weekly. Haven't decided quite yet since we don't know when each task force is meeting quite yet. But once again, I'll send an email and then I'll have you all decide who you want to provide that report, and then we'll either put it on our website or Shocker Sync or whatever. It hasn't been quite figured out yet, but once again, that email will follow soon. Today, I had the parking meeting with McKinsey, and so it was actually a really productive meeting. So in regards to parking at the YMCA, they are looking into changing the policy to anyone who's actively using the YMCA is able to park there. This is just a change that they're looking into. Nothing is official quite yet, but that is one thing that we discussed today at our meeting. Also with that, Chief Clark shared that he would be open to reviewing proposals about the parking garage. So if anyone is interested in collaborating on a list of proposals of changes to the parking garage that could be made, please let me know, and we can all meet together and figure out a list of different ideas. That way students could potentially park there without paying $1.50 per hour. Also, shortly I'll be starting on the Student Advisory Council letter, just advocating for higher education funding, and everyone who's on the SAC, which is the Student Advisory Council, are all the Regent student body presidents for KBOR, and so we'll be creating a letter since we're not doing a combined higher education day this year, so we still wanted to put forward something that was on behalf of SAC as a whole. And then with that, each Regent institution is looking into passing a resolution within their Senate supporting higher education funding. So I plan on working on that with our new chief of operations. So if that's also something that you want to collaborate on, please let me know so we can get that going as well. Just some other projects I've been working on is just reviewing SRB, Senate Review Board, just to look at the changes and clarifications that need to be made to that entire process, and then also just reviewing university committees and how students are appointed to those as well. Last thing for my report is just an update about applications as well. Once again, student fees application closes this Friday. We still need applications for returning adult, honors, fine arts, health professions, and international. All of those seats are vacant as of right now, so once again, those applications close this Friday. So if you know of anybody or you yourself are able to serve on the Student Fees Committee, please apply. We're still accepting elections applications. However, there is one upcoming interview, and if that one is pushed forward and confirmed, that would be all of the election commission seats filled. And then the senator application deadline is February 7th. So, for Chief of Operations, over the last week, I've met with the chairs of the Student Safety and Services and the Ways and Means Committee to see what their committees have done over the last semester and what they plan to do this coming semester, and how I can help them during the rest of this session. I've also been preparing for Higher Education Day in the State House. Other than that, I've been getting settled into the office. Director of Public Relations, Senators, I have been doing a lot of event planning this week. We have some really exciting events coming up in March, and then the banquet in April that I have been working on. Be on the lookout tonight for the list of February events on Facebook. The full survey and more concise infographic has been added to the website for the student body to access. The infographic that is being passed around will go out on social media this week as well. There was something I was going to add, but I forgot. So if I remember, I'll mention it during remarks and announcements later this evening. And with that, I will yield my time to the treasurer so she can give her report.
Michael, I emailed it to you because I didn't have access to the drive on the computer in the office. So, hey everyone, thank you for letting me come up and speak to you all today. I wanted to talk about a little bit about my reasoning for the budget and then about the upcoming student fees process. I have been thinking a lot about student fees, and I felt like I needed to talk to all of you about sort of the things that factor into the way that I think about them, and then also maybe prompt you to think about them before the student fees bill comes onto the floor in mid-March. So Michael's going to pull up something really quick. All right, perfect. Thank you, Michael. All right, so very quickly, a full-time student at Wichita State University. Oh, sorry. First, I forgot about something. So I think we all understand that there's a crisis in tuition and cost for students to go to school. It's such a problem, student debt is such a problem that it's being debated on the national level during our presidential election. I know that we don't have any control over the cost of tuition, but we do have some ounce of control over the cost of student fees. And I think if we're going to spend our student fees money on different programs, we need to be thinking critically about how they are benefiting our students, and then constantly looking back to remember that they are ultimately being paid by all of us and all of our constituency. So any program that is being paid for by student fees needs to be thought through thoroughly and looked at critically every year as we go through the student fees process. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is just the overall cost. I don't know that we've ever actually presented the overall cost of student fees. I'm sure you're all aware of it because you pay them, but So for 9 credit hours or more, you will spend $679.18 per spring and fall semester. So that's just per semester. So can you go to the next slide, Michael? So to put this into perspective for like the overall cost of student fees to a student, a full-time student will pay $678.18 per semester. A full-time student per year will pay $1,356.36. And then a full-time student over the course of their 4-year attendance will pay $5,425.44. Now bear in mind, that's only student fees that come out of our student fees process. Those don't include any student fees that you'll be paying for your specific college or major. So for some students, and I've spoken to some students who this is a reality for, because they have tuition assistance or because they have scholarships, their fees, and because they're in a department like engineering, their fees end up costing them more than their actual tuition. So something to think about as we move forward. So at the average national student loan interest rate of 5.8%, which remember 5.8% is actually a relatively middle ranging interest rate, the low interest rate, the interest rates that the federal government gives out actually drive interest rates way down. So there are many students who pay somewhere between the 10 to 12.5% interest rate, which is very, very high. So at the national student loan average student loan interest rate of 5.8% over the course of 21 years, which is actually the national average student loan payback period, the Wichita State students will pay a total of, and I'm sorry, the yellow and white, I didn't fix that, but $9,395 for their student fees. So for any student whose interest rate is higher, or for any student who spends more time paying back on their loans, that number will be even higher. So whenever I think about student fees, I like to keep this $9,395 in perspective. I think it's important for us to have that number in our heads, that like ultimately that's what all of us and all of our constituency will pay, or could pay for their student fees in the future. And even for students who are financially assisted by their families or have significant scholarships, like the cost of that burden is put somewhere else, right? So it's either put onto scholarships or back onto their families. So it's an important issue for all of us to talk about, and I would like all of you to think about it as we move forward. Okay, so do you want to go to the next slide, Michael? So I did this calculation also to put that number into perspective, because I'm a psychology major, so therapy is really important to me. I know that $30 is a really good rate, so like either you have interest or you have insurance, or you found a provider who's willing to work for you, but it is a rate that you can find. So that's sort of the number that I had in my head, and it made an easy calculation. So the cost of therapy every time you go is about $30. Cost of therapy every 2 weeks for generally also if you're in a state of crisis, or not in a state of crisis, if you need continued care, every 2 weeks is kind of an average recommendation that a psychologist will give. So that's why I use 2 weeks. So the cost of therapy every 2 weeks for a year is about $780, and the cost of therapy every 2 weeks for 4 years is $3,120. So the total cost of student fees is that $9,395. So the number of years that a student could pay for therapy if they spent their student fees money on therapy instead of student fees is 12 years. So when I think about student fees, I always put it into essentially this context, like how much rent could you pay? How many months of groceries could you buy? Could you buy could you buy health insurance, right? Like what could you be spending this money on if you weren't spending it on student fees? I don't know, that really helps me think about it and conceptualize it. But so sort of the end of this is Oh, okay. So I also have one last statistic that I want to give to you, and this is from the Kansas State report that the Kansas State government puts out a report on university costs, tuition, and then services every year after they've passed the budget and they've gotten all of the information from the universities. So this report is entitled Undergraduate Tuition and Fees 5-Year Comparison from 2014 to 2019. And the Wichita State University percent average change. Okay, so the change in fees and tuition over the past 5 years is 15.7%. Okay, now the national inflation rate is about 8.4%. So the rate at which tuition is increasing is nearly double the national inflation rate. If you don't understand what that means, we can talk about it later. Feel free to approach me later and I can explain it a little bit more. But basically what it means is that our tuition is increasing. Oh, sorry. I'm not going to explain inflation, but if you want to talk to me afterward, you can ask me about it, okay? So that's all I have for you today. I'm going to come back up here several more times as we get closer to student fees to explain more of the process. But I've been talking to a lot of students about this because I really want their input on what we should bring to the table at student fees. But, you know, there's power in numbers. So if you can all talk to your constituency and learn what they think about this issue, talk to them about, you know, or simple questions that I ask are, do you know what your student fees pay for, right? And then you can go over different services that are included in your student fees, talk about that, and then, you know, do you know how much you pay for student fees? What would you like to see coming out of student fees? Do you think they should be increased? Do you think they should be reduced, right? Just simple questions and polling your constituency so that I can get more information and the student fees committee can get more information. As always, if you want to talk to me, you can always text me. My number's in the drive. So last thing, I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. And the week before we left for break, I had 2 cousins die the week before we left for break, so I was at their funeral. The budget was supposed to be passed that week, but the committee needed a little bit more time, so I was supposed to be there to present it and all of that. And my husband and I had planned a trip to Washington, D.C. for about 4 months, so I felt like I was obligated to go with him. So sorry I wasn't here. If you have any questions for me now, you can ask them, or if you have any questions about the budget last week, I'm sorry I wasn't able to explain them.
Are there any questions for the treasurer?
All right. Thank you all. Oh, yes.
Senator Sanchez.
Question and I guess also a request. Can you email us this information, or if this isn't already
Yeah,
uploaded, so that we can, when we speak, can use this to
Yeah,
talk to
I
our
can
constituents?
absolutely email it out. And if you want it in like the context of average rent or average insurance payments, sometimes those are easier for other people to conceptualize as well. So, anything else?
Any other questions for the treasurer? Thank you. Are there any questions on the president's report? Senator Ritchie.
About the meeting that you had with about the YMCA parking, did you? I don't know if you guys got this far, but how that would be monitored. If you guys didn't get that far, I understand. But if that's something that you talked about with them,
So just how it's going to be monitored.
yeah, if it were put on a park as you use it.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood. I understood your question. So that's part of the reason why nothing's official quite yet, because that is something that they're looking into, because that is just a difficult situation. Because it would be silly for parking services to go in and be like, hey, is this person in there? Is this person in there? So that's part of the reason nothing is official yet. That's just why they're looking into this right now. So I don't have an answer for your question directly, but they're looking into it.
Senator Kirk.
As of right now, what is your next step with meeting with the YMCA, another meeting, or anything like that as of right now.
So George Sorensen, who is the director of the YMCA, has to run this up his chain of command to make sure that this is something that they're okay with, because it is a weird, like, while it's technically WSU land, the YMCA like owns the parking lot, so we have to both be in agreement of, you know, who can and can't park there, things like that. So George is currently working on if that's something that they're okay with, and then from there I asked George to just let me know, and then based on yes, that's fine, or no, that's not, will then lead to if that's another meeting, or then if we just start sharing that information. So, yeah.
Any other questions for the president? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item B, Vice President's report. Good evening, everybody. See, everybody survived the weather yesterday. So I've got just a few things. I do have more on the report, and I have uploaded it to Shocker Sync if you want to review it in further details. So one of the updates I wanted to provide is the International Hardship Fund. So far, we've processed, once it became actually ours, and I was put as the chair, we've done at least 2 in the past week, and then we just received 2 more today, and so those will be starting. Right now I'm reviewing the packet to make sure everything necessary was added to it. If there's any missing information, I'll reach out to the individual and request those. And then after receiving those, I'll set up a time with the committee to meet and review those. The president did mention some of the task force. I know for mine personally, I've been assigned to the Military, Veterans, and First Responders Task Force. Our first meeting will take place tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 10:30. For this one, it's just going to be, general purpose of the task force is going to be discussed. We're going to go over some of the initial data. We're going to talk about some of the services we're going to overview, and then we're going to be receiving our specific assignments for each member to go and research into and bring ideas back. So it's basically just game planning from day one, but I wanted to let you know that that particular task force is already starting to meet, and I will be letting you know as things progress from there what we're doing. So the University Police Department has contacted us. They're looking into an effort to better represent the community they serve. And in doing so, they're soliciting ideas for a redesign of their patch worn on their uniforms. They would like student input on what the patch would look like and would become, and are asking for something that represents both WSU and Wichita, or one or the other. They are trying to move away from the state seal. As you can see, the patch that is currently up there is the seal, is the one that they have, with the Kansas seal right in the middle. But they want to more accurately represent local or university with their patch. Some examples that they have given are the iconic clock tower on Morrison Hall, Keeper of the Plains statue, Buffalo Soldier for representing the linkage of diverse service in Kansas. Some of the stipulations they've provided are like size-wise. The current patch is 3.5 inches and obviously a circle, so both length and width. But they understand that most patches come in a variety, and the police patches are no different. So they have no restriction on the shape. So if you wanted it to be a shield, a half shield, a circle, an oval, any of that goes. The max dimensions that they've provided are anywhere from 3.5 inches to 4.5 inches in length or width, and then up to 5 inches in length. They have asked that we consider, as students, we consider black and gold, simply because those are the university colors and that's what they're trying to represent, but it does not necessitate black and gold if you don't think that that should be there. How you're going to submit, you can ignore the first one. That was incorrect in the email they sent me. But it is their email, so it's police@wichita.edu. Once you have a design, you just send it there. They will be collecting them up until February 29th, at which point they will review all of the submissions as a department, choose one or two winners, talk to university and make sure that everything's good, and then they will announce sometime in March what the new patch design will be. And those are all of the updates I have for you at this moment. I stand for questions if there are any. Senator Kirk.
This might be self-explanatory, but when we send, when we tell our constituents about this, or we ourselves, we, in the email to the police department with our design or however we think, besides the design itself, is there anything specifically that they're looking for, like detail-oriented, exactly what we're wanting? What exactly are they looking for?
Certainly. Thanks for asking that question. One of the things that's not necessarily stated, but a short summary of what it is and why you have chosen each piece. Description on how it would tie into the community or WSU. Some of them are pretty obvious. Like one of the examples, if you use the clock tower here in Morrison, it's right there. You're using a piece of university on the patch. But a short summary of why you included what you did in the patch. And of course, a brief mention that this submission is for, obviously, the patch. But other than that, they didn't provide any details for what to submit along with your design. Senator Ritchie.
Will there be any promotional material to spread around, like on social media or anything?
Yes. So they're currently working on it. They haven't quite got it out, but they gave us the go-ahead to make the announcement here. But that should be coming out, I think they said sometime next week, and at which point we will start sharing that ourselves, but you're more than welcome to start spreading the word. It is active as of this moment, as far as I know. And then, does that answer your question? Are there any other questions? Seeing none, I'll sit back down. With that, we'll move into section 7, other reports. Item A, academics.
Okay, hi everyone. So Monday was a faculty senate meeting. They discussed 2 main points. The first one is that they discussed the potential university transition to e-verify for employment verification. Basically, this means that they're checking to see if you're a U.S. citizen before you get employed. This is a government policy or a federal government policy that our university does have to comply with. The second, they discussed they discussed creating a multi-purpose space on campus for diverse programs. Also, I connected with Provost Muma and Dr. Jeff Jarman about attending an academic committee meeting over the plus and minus system, and they both said that they can go on February 13th. So if you are passionate about talking to that or listening in, then it's February 13th, 6:10 p.m. in RSC 240 in the Mayfield room. If you can't attend that and you do want me to say something for you, you can send me an email or find me in person and let me know, and I'll be sure to communicate that for you. That's basically it. I updated Trello, and I can submit the rest of my report to Shocker Sync.
Are there any questions for the chair? Senator Turan.
Can you repeat the date, time, and meeting?
Yeah. So it's going to be February 13th, 6:10 p.m. and it's in room RSC 240.
Are there any other questions for the chair? Senator Sanchez.
Yeah, in regards to that meeting, what do you have prepared, if anything, so far as to what you're presenting to the two professionals?
It's going to be a main point in our committee meeting tomorrow to discuss, but we definitely want to ask questions on what we can do and what their thoughts are on it as well.
Any other questions for the chair? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll move into item B, safety and student services.
Okay, so hi everyone. This week, my biggest time commitment has been the Parking Appeal Committee. We have had a lot of appeals because as far as I understood, there's a grace period for the starting of a semester for when you can park without a permit. However, a lot of those were ticketed, and so that's been a big influx on the appeals we've been getting for the committee. Another thing is the rules for the YMCA. A lot of those we've been just warning them that these are our new current rules. Unfortunately, you cannot park there as of right now. The other thing we were discussing was over break we had a lot of tickets given, and there is the assumption on campus that if it's break, you do not need a permit to park on it. Like in yellow and green, you don't need a permit. However, there were tickets given for that, so that was a large part of my week. Besides that, I reached out to Mu Delta Alpha about self-defense course partnership because they currently have a self-defense course, and so we want to pay for the instructor so that that course can be free for all students. We will hopefully be hearing back from that soon. I am also meeting with Tanner Morrell tomorrow, the parking manager for WSU. So if you guys want me to address anything, you can let me know. The main things that I want to address in the meeting are the parking garage and as well as just following up on everything that he presented to us when he did come to Senate, such as the app, changing parking lots, and all of that kind of stuff. I just wanted to follow up with him, where are we with that? What ideas are we taking? Basically just a check-in. And besides that, Safety and Student Services will be having an event next week. As you all know, the famous Coffee with the Cop. So we have the cops and the coffee, and so we'll be getting donuts, and it will be fun. So it's Thursday, February 6th, downstairs at the RSC Starbucks from 10 a.m. to noon. And that is all.
Are there any questions for the chair? Senator James.
I talked to Tanner this morning about the crosswalk outside the YMCA, and he said he was open to adding more crosswalks into different places. Has he talked to you about that, or do you plan on talking to him about that?
I can address that. I haven't talked to him about that currently.
Any other questions for the chair? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll move into item C, diversity, empowerment, and inclusion.
I will be submitting my report to Shockers Inc.
Are there any questions for the chair? Seeing none, we'll move into item D, ways and means.
I'm also going to submit my report to Shockers Inc. So if there are any questions, I am happy to answer.
Are there any questions for the chair? Seeing none, we'll move into section 8, appointments. Item A, SB-62-098, appointing the position of engineering senator. Does the author wish to speak to this bill? You can go ahead. I'll get it pulled up.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just have, like, aside from what is stated within the legislation that you cannot see as of right now, Manish is a kind individual, and his involvement within the College of Engineering will provide him with the ability to accurately advocate for his constituents' needs, which is why he would be a great representative for the College of Engineering within our association. That is all I have. So if you have any questions, I will gladly take them.
Are there any questions for the author? Do the projection. More technical difficulties. Bear with us.
This is my first day. Ta-da!
There it goes. 98. All right. With that, I do see that the nominee is here. Does the nominee wish to speak to this bill? Please come on up.
So, I have a little speech prepared. I hope that's okay. Good evening, Senators. I'm Manish Mahajan, and I'm an aerospace engineering freshman. I'm originally from Mumbai, India. I serve as a freshman advisory board member for the Cohen Honors College, and I also work as secretary for the Ahimsa student organization on campus. I've been previously a part of my high school student council, so I think that qualifies me to represent student on campus. First of all, I would like to thank President Miller and Vice President Burt for providing me this opportunity to serve the great Shocker Nation. As I had mentioned in my application, there is no other student organization on campus that defines a university's trajectory as the Student Government Association does. It is a well-known fact that Wichita State University is among the top colleges in the United States for engineering, but I believe that it is still in its growth phase and on its way to the top. And therefore, it is my reason to apply for this position and be a part of this growth story. Some of my goals as an engineering senator is to form a brainstorming club on campus where students from all backgrounds, all majors can come together and realize their dreams or create ventures and so on. I'm sorry, it was not a prepared sentence. Also provide essential software such as CATIA and MATLAB to engineering students at a discounted price so that they can practice at home and become more fluent in using those softwares. Introducing research seminars to all freshmen so as to open new doors to opportunities and discoveries. So that is pretty much about it, and I'm excited to work with you all, and I hereby dedicate myself towards the betterment of student life on campus. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the nominee? Senator Kirk.
So you said that you have been in leadership roles before, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so being here at WSU, what is your one thing? You may have many things, but what is your one thing that you want to do for the College of Engineering?
As I said, some of my goals is to, engineering students need more practical work. And for them, I think they need to find a way where they could create new ideas and get to know people who can help them in their plans, if they have any idea, and people from other backgrounds, other majors can help them to realize that idea and create maybe new ventures or any startups or something like that.
Are there any other questions for the nominee? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You leave it there. Go back to the word.
Never mind.
Right there.
Sorry, y'all. I'm new at this.
Moving into debate on this item. Is there anyone wishing to speak in debate at this time? Senator Webb.
So he may not remember, but I had the opportunity to interview him over the summer before he came to Wichita State for an honors position on the board that he's on right now, the Freshman Advisory Board, or the FAB Board. It's called FAB for a reason. And I was very impressed with his interview. I thought he had a lot of energy, so I'm very excited to see him apply for this position and to get as involved as he is, especially in his first year here.
Senator James.
So unlike a previous senator, I don't know the nominee. I don't have a relationship with them, but he does seem really eager to be in his position. He does seem really eager to help his fellow students in the College of Engineering, and he has a lot of plans. And I will be voting in favor of this just because he seems ready for this type of job. So I will be voting in favor.
Senator Kirk.
As he said, I myself do not know this candidate at all, but one thing that just stuck out to me when he came up there, one, he had exactly what he wanted to say written down. To me, that just says discipline. That's the kind of thing that I would want in the Senate, and he is eager to continue the education and to do whatever he needs to do for his constituents. He may not know what that is right now. He was very honest and blunt about that, which I really admire, but he's willing, if and when he gets put into this position, he wants to find out what he wants to do, and he wants to be the best representation of his constituents that he can be. I will be definitely voting in favor for this candidate, and I highly recommend you do the same.
Senator Taran.
With a motion to pass by unanimous consent of the Senate.
Is there any objections? Seeing none, SB-62-098 has passed with unanimous consent of the Senate. With that, we'll move into item B, SB-62-099, appointing the position of Student Fees Committee Member. Does the author wish to speak to this bill?
So Anne wasn't able to come this evening as she is coming down with a cold. So she sent me a little speech that she wanted me to read on her behalf. So good evening. I would like to start by introducing myself first. My name is Anne. I am currently a junior majoring in criminal justice and psychology. Like many of us, we are busy with classes, jobs, and trying to maintain a balanced life both academically while still participating in campus activities. I've applied to be the at-large student representative on the Student Fees Committee. I applied for this position because, first, I wanted the opportunity to serve, and second, to ensure that we are fairly addressing the concerns of all students. I bring numerous leadership skills and qualities for this position. I served on the NAACP chapter at Dubuque Career High School as the Community Events Chair. I also served on the Shockers Freshman Council under SGA, and I currently serve as the chairperson for poverty and homelessness on the Community Service Board here on campus. In refining my leadership qualities, integrity and decision-making stand out as my strongest assets. These assets have taught me to listen intently, think critically, be informed, and be willing to look at the situation from both perspectives before reaching a decision. In addition, I'm a problem solver. I love the challenge and excitement of learning new things. With my appointment, I am looking for opportunities to enhance the value of student dollars by improving the campus infrastructure while placing a cap on increased student fees. I will be able to fulfill the necessary requirements and represent our fellow students with both integrity and confidence. I hope to secure your votes and work diligently to improve the overall experience as a Shocker. I do look forward to working with you, and thank you for your time. That's all I have within the legislation, and I think that says it all.
Are there any questions for the president? Seeing none, thank you. As the nominee is not here, we will move directly into the debating period. Is there anyone wishing to speak in debate at this time? Senator
With
Madden.
the motion to adopt by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Was that an objection? Not you, her.
It was still a giggle.
Seeing none, SB-62-099 is adopted with unanimous consent of the Senate. Moving into item C, SB-62-100, appointing the position of Student Fees Committee Member. Does the author wish to speak to this bill?
No, it's Lucas.
Tell me how you really feel. Are there any questions for the author? Seeing Senator Nazir.
For those senators or anybody watching who don't know Lucas, could you explain a little bit about this bill?
So Lucas has served on the Student Fees Committee in the past. Therefore, that experience and his experience within SGA, serving as a senator and representing students consistently, makes him very qualified to serve on this committee. And I think everything else that I would say is within the legislation.
Are there any other questions for the president? Seeing none, and the nominee is here. Does the nominee wish to speak to this bill?
All right, good evening, everyone. For those who I may not have formally met yet, I'm Lucas Webb. I originally did not apply for this position last semester just because of my schedule, and I was encouraging some of my other peers to apply for it in hopes that they would kind of give them some experience and have me take a step back. But as time went on, both honors and engineering stayed vacant, and I think those are two huge blocks when it comes to the amount of student fees that goes to them. So I decided to apply specifically, well, for both, but specifically for the engineering one, just because there are so many student organizations in that engineering field that student fees goes to, and I think deserves a lot of representation. And so that is the reason that I applied.
Are there any questions for the nominee? Senator Ritchie.
Do you still feel the same way about your schedule, and do you think it might conflict with the Student Fees Committee?
Fantastic question, thank you. Yes, I did think a long and hard time about my schedule and how this would work in. And I have set apart that meeting block every Friday that we're going to meet, and I've already emailed all of my professors that I'm going to be gone that entire week that Student Fees is going to meet. They're all okay with it, so I feel that I can work it into my schedule.
Are there any other questions for the nominee? Seeing none, nominee may either stay or leave for debate. Moving into the debating period, is there anyone wishing to debate at this time? Senator Lepetsky.
With the motion to pass by unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, SB-62-100 is adopted with unanimous consent of the Senate. Moving into item D, SB-62-101, appointing Senate Standing Committee members. As the author, I do want to talk about it. I'm back. So as you can see, we're appointing several individuals. Some of these were last semester couldn't meet any of the committee times and were placed on the Shocker Support Locker Committee and are coming off now that they can meet at a particular committee time and are going specifically onto that one. Others had conflicts with the time their committee is now meeting, but we're able to go into others, and so it's kind of just a lateral move from who's been in what committee and moving the people around so that we still have representation on committees. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I do stand for questions. With that, do any of the nominees wish to speak? Very well. With that, we will move directly into the debate period. Senator Madden.
With a motion to pass by unanimous consent.
But you can. Are there any objections? Seeing none, SB-62-101 is adopted with unanimous consent of the Senate. Go back to the presentation. Moving past Section 9, unfinished business, and Section 10, new business, as there are no items within, we'll move directly into Section 11, remarks and announcements. Senator Zacharias.
Hello. So if you guys were in the office earlier, you might have heard, but I have been looking into this piece of legislation that one of the former senators gave me about fraternity and sorority life and making them have mandatory sexual misconduct and bystander trainings. So I have a few copies up here. I need people's input. Because I can't do this by myself because my perspective does not represent the entire university. So I have some copies. If you guys want them, please come to me after the meeting and we can talk about them, or you guys can come in during my office hours. I'll post my office hours on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, come after and I'll tell you all my office hours. So we can talk about this because it's an important topic that shouldn't be taken hastily. Is that the word? Okay, I don't know. Thank you.
Any other remarks and announcements? Senator Sanchez.
So my sorority, Lambda Pi Upsilon, is selling cake pops until February 4th, which is, I believe, next Tuesday. So any of us hermanas, which translates to sisters, you can locate one of us, especially myself, as we all have to have a certain number of orders in order to give 50% of the proceeds to our local philanthropy, which is foster care, children in foster care. So we're looking at potentially having some type of creation for a scholarship for children in foster care. And so 50% will go to them, and then 50% will go to our own personal funds as we go up for chapter this summer. So it's really essential that we have as much fundraising as possible for us to get at least 5 members, if not all 16 of us, to go up there and present. So if you're interested, there's 6 cake pops for $10, 9 cake pops for $14, and 12 for $18. And so pre-orders are now, and then the date that you'll pick them up is Monday the 10th. They're just in time for Valentine's Day or whatever else gifts that you may look for.
Senator James.
So I had a meeting Friday, similar to the one that President Miller had about parking at the YMCA, and I was told to gather information. So if you or someone you know was ticketed for parking at the YMCA, please let me know. We will try. I was told that there are efforts to try to refund or get that off of your record or anything like that. So just let me know if you or anyone you know got ticketed for parking at the YMCA. Thanks.
Senator Ritchie.
I just wanted to let you guys know about another Fine Arts event that's going on the 2nd of February. It's a Sunday. The faculty applied instructors for instruments are having a recital. This is big. The faculty are having a recital on that day at 3 o'clock, a performance of Histoire du Soldat, which translates to The Soldier's Tale by Stravinsky. It's going to be a really great performance, so if you guys could spread the word, again, Sunday at 3 o'clock on Sunday.
President Miller.
So 2 things really quick. One, what Senator James just mentioned, that was also mentioned at our meeting today with George and Chief Clark, and that they would, if that's something that they can do, that they would more than likely run a like a data pool and then hopefully refund those individuals, but still provide that information to Senator James as well, but just so y'all know. Second thing, if you are in a task force, please stay after and come see me. I would like to talk to you all as a group. Thank you.
Senator Zacharias.
Hi, I think I forgot to mention this in my thing about parking appeals, but as I am on the committee, anyone who is appealing that, we are currently excusing and upholding their appeal. However, it is like they have to appeal it for us to do that for them. So if you know anyone who has complained about it, even if they've already paid it, let them know that they can go ahead and submit that appeal so that that can be, 1, removed from the record, and 2, refunded or waived for them.
Senator Kirk.
This past weekend, a group that I am the president of went out of state and competed on a competitive a cappella tournament. We received 4th place, and thank you guys. Coming on the 24th of next month, we are going to be doing a huge concert in Wiedemann Hall for the whole school to be able to see like what we are, so even the SGA can see that we are a legitimate organization, that we actually do things, and so people can see that this isn't just for music majors, this is for anyone and everyone that loves music.
Yes.
Senator Turan.
Congrats. Also, some initiatives I'm working on is some healthy food options in the RSC. So if you yourself or your constituents have suggestions, please pass them on to me so I can, bring them upstream to some administration so that we can see something that we truly want on campus. And then something else I've been looking into is recycling on campus. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. Also, I've attended a few town halls, and Dr. Golden is really looking toward our senators to represent the student body. So please reach out to your constituents about anything and everything you're working on. And then just some announcements. ACS is having their first meeting next Wednesday in the first floor of McKinley. There will be pizza. And then Dr. Golden also mentioned he wants to put himself out there and hear student input. So he's usually at Shocker Hall eating breakfast at 7 a.m. usually. So if you're an early bird, catch him there. Cool.
Senator Day.
All right. To echo a previous senator's comment, recycling is a top concern of students. Like according to this poll that's being handed out there, that's one of the top concerns. So I think it's important. And talk to Senator Tron, also talk to Senator Wang, who's not, I don't believe is here, about recycling because, or any senators interested, because we really need to improve the recycling system here, and I think that's an important pressing issue for students. So,
Senator Tron.
Sorry, I forgot to mention on that. I spoke to Pro Kansas Miller Recycling Center. They're They're located at 725 East Clark. And if anyone's interested on their like sorting guidelines, let me know. Okay, that's it.
Treasurer Osterman.
Hey everyone. So just sort of an addendum to what I talked about earlier. We really need people. We still need people for student fees. And if you really want to make a difference in what we do here on this university, student fees is a great way to do that. You get a lot of input, and you also learn a lot about all of the different organizations on campus. So, wait, which ones are open though? Can you say? I don't have it with me. Sorry.
No.
Fine arts, honors, returning adult, and international.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if you have a friend or a constituent that you think would be really good on this committee, if you want to send them my number or introduce them to me, and I can explain a little bit more about what they're going to do, and I don't know, maybe give them the opportunity to join too. I mean, I won't. Katrina will do that, but might encourage them to join. So, anyone's pass them along. Okay, bye.
Senator Mounts.
So it is with a heavy heart that tonight I am announcing my resignation as chair of the Diversity, Empowerment, and Inclusion Committee. I have put quite a few months into this job, and while it has been an amazing learning experience, I felt like I should be stepping away just due to some personal reasons. So I thank all of you for the opportunity for voting me into this position and allowing me and trusting me to be the leader of this. I know we've gotten some great work done, and I'm excited to see what DEI will continue, or what DEI will do to continue after today. So thank you all.
Are there any other remarks and announcements before I move to mine? Is that no one, Nancy? All right. So, where do you go? Oh, it's over there. If your name placard has a little yellow card on it, I need you to see me after it. It'll be on the side facing you, so you don't have to turn it around. Other than that, I did have a comment. So last week, whether you submitted or not, for senator hours, it's fine. That was like a 2-day week, so I completely understand if there was not able to get those hours in. However, if I can pull it up in the remaining time. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got 5 minutes. So no
January. That's the wrong one. Whatever. So there were 68%, give or take, since my computer is about to restart. So roughly 68, I can give you the exact number if you really want, that didn't submit at all. And I know that there was a trend of non-submissions last semester, so I don't want to see it becoming a thing. So I hope all of you get your senator hours in tonight. And that's all I've got. If no one else has any remarks and announcements. Looks like we have one over there. Madam President.
All right. So I was just told that I needed to share this. So an official opinion of the court has come back in regards to my veto that I did. I don't remember the exact Senate bill number that it was vetoing. But the court did decide that the line item was unconstitutional. So therefore, I have 30 days to reissue a veto if I would like. And then after that, 7 days the Senate has to override the veto. So, is that it? Okay.
We'll put it on Shocker Think publicly so you all can take a look at it if you want to. And then if you have questions, please go talk to Michael or Katrina. Or if you have questions about the order specifically, you can also reach out to the Chief Justice as well.
For some of you that do know, there were a couple questions submitted in the original request. That was the only response we got back. So I'm currently in communications with the court to see what we can get as far as answers on those other options. But I'll keep you up to date as I receive more information. So the other things were what is the interpretation of act upon, because the Senate has 7 days in which to act upon the president's veto. So what the question technically is, what constitutes as act upon? Is it somebody notifying myself or the chief of operations that, hey, I want to do something about that, and that technically hits the mark? Or is it something has to be said within a Senate meeting? And we asked that specifically because when the original veto came out, it was at a time frame where the next meeting was more than 7 days out. And so technically that would be a loophole to get around your right to object to the veto. And so we wanted to clarify exactly what action would constitute as the Senate's act upon a veto. Another one was the definition of any action, because the president has the right to veto any action of the Senate, and that's pretty much all there is to say about it. So it was, can we get some interpretation, or at least some left and right limits on what can and cannot, along with specifically the line veto. Well, those were the three that were included in the original request. Does that answer your question? All right. If there is nothing else, no. So, with that, we will close and adjourn at 7:54 with a silent roll call.
Legislation.
Once again, task forces, please come over here. Please and thank you.